What's up, my people? What's up, my homies? What's up, my friends? I'm Gnarly Vato, and these are Gnarly Times. Well, today I want to talk about family and our history and our past. That, but and well, this is I'm gonna talk about this book I read. Right, one of the last novels or books I read, besides these other ones. Well, this book actually means a lot to me. The reason why is because I first read it in juvenile hall. I was like 15 and a half, right? I think 16 by then. Yeah, 16. So when I was, as I grew up, right, went through life, I read, thought of these stories I read in this book, like, is this real? What I read, And then I'm like, I don't know. Let me see if my memory is correct. Let me order this book. Right. Well, this took place during the what was it, revolution with the Zapata and what's his name, Pancho Villa, right? And it's around that time when a lot of Mexicans fled this way. Well, amazing book. I loved it. I still love it. But here it is right here. It's called Rain of Gold. Right, by Victor Villasenor. And he lives out there by Carlos Malo. Carlsbad. That's why ever since I read this, I always hear, when I hear Carlsbad, I always hear Carlos Malo. But it's about a family who fled after during the revolution. I think Mexican Revolution, right? And it's about both families. Well, I want to give you a little rundown about that, right? Some little things I read it and elaborate about my history and my family. That's why I believe that's always inspired me. So I always wanted to create a book or some kind of thing about my family. Well, in this book, these two families, because it talks about the grandpa and grandma and how their struggles of fleeing to LA, right, or Southern California, and the other, the daughter, and then the son, the grandson, right, the one that they're writing about, because this is the son or the grandson writing about his family, his grandparents. Well, it started with gold, right? Because it's called Rain of Gold. But it started somewhere where Indians were at that had. Well, in the book in the beginning, it has an Indian going to these Mexicans, right? And want to trade because this dude had his family, just him and his family, right? So he lived up in the mountains on some land, and he went down to the town and said, "Hey, I want some. Will you trade?" He's like, "I got the best water on earth," and the dude's like, "I got my own water." He's like, "What, I need your water?" He's like, "No, this is the best water." He's like, "That's all I got," right? Well, when the Indian was at the town in the store, the dude like, I don't want no water." He's like, What else you got?" He goes, "I got these rocks." He's like, I don't know, he's shining pretty. He's like, "Let me see." So he's seen it. He's like, oro, gold, And so he's like, okay. He's like, "Here, let's trade. You get anything in the store you want." And he's like, okay. So he took all his stuff, right? And he could take whatever he wanted, took, and then split. Well, this guy's like, it's gold. Well, it continues from, that's just starting off with the Indians, right? Then you have the other family who's like raised out in, I don't know where, in the desert, and it had like 7 brothers, and some shit happened, and they were kind of had red hair, and the youngest brother had to flee with the mom, and that was crazy too, where they were starving all the way, right? walking, wherever they walked from, starving, right? And they had to boil at times tumbleweeds to eat, you know. And I'd be like, damn, that was crazy. And but even in the part with the Indians, right? Because after a while, the Indians started trading for the gold and more food and what have you, and he ended up selling off. He ended up buying the mountain from the Indians, and he promised never to mine it, you know. And then he ended up selling it out to some Americans. Americans came in and started putting roads, the city. They're doing crazy shit, right? Well, one of the, I think the mom at the time was growing. She was a little girl, right, around this mine, and she had like 5 sisters or something. 4 sisters, and the mom used to cook food for people who worked in the mine. You know, she had like a dirt floor that was hard like concrete, so she would make food and hustle, make food for the workers and sell them, right? And it was crazy too. So their dad was out working somewhere else, right? So he was gone for like a years. Well, the mom was taking care of the girls there in their little plot of land. The Pancho Villa or the troops or Mexican troops would run in on their horses, and these girls, this was crazy, right? You imagine you're being 16 years old. These girls had to hide under because they had animals, so they would hide in the cow shit, chicken poop, pig, all under the mud, right? Because their tactic, the Mexican army, the tactic is psychological, you know, where they would rape, take advantage of girls, you know, because you don't even know who these fools are. They run in, rape you, get the hell out, you know. So they would hide the girls in there. So this little girl grew up telling that story about that, you know, about her memories. So when they end up had to book it, leave. Anyways, so it talks about her struggle and her getting pushed out. They had to leave, you know, and then the other homeboy with his mom, right? And so it talks about the time when bootlegging, because if I'm right, it's around bootlegging time too, as they get older and settle down more. One of the brothers, it's crazy. It's an awesome story, but it all takes place around San Diego, Carlsbad, L.A., you know. He even gets busted in Hanford, you know, Tulare and shit. So I had a little connection there. So when I go, you know, little local towns. So as I read it when I was a kid, I always wondered, like, was it true? Because in there, the Indians they sold the land but didn't want to leave the land, right? So they're up in the hills, right? So these guys said, supposedly, well, the guy who wrote this, he said one of the reasons why he wanted to do this, because he heard a story that when around this time happened, that they skinned a bull, skinned it, and made it run up a mountain. And you're like, what? They skinned a bull? And I was still alive and ran up a mountain? Well, supposedly they knocked this bull out with a sledgehammer. Bah! Right? And then skinned it. So once it woke up, it just went, ah! They smacked it at its ass, I think, and ran up the hill. And when the Indians seen it, they're like, a ghost or whatever, you know, and they fled that mountain, got the hell out. So, well, anyways, it was just an inspirational story, you know, and it shows how they worked hard and survived and did what they had to do in order for the future, you know. They're the ones they don't even know. They just know, they know their kids, And they eventually know their kids will possibly have grandkids, you know, knowing they're good looking. Like my Mijo's good looking, he's gonna have some, you know. But even women, you know, they're like, she more than likely they're gonna have kids. But so we're always thinking about our future, at least now that I'm older, you know. So you imagine them um, went through the struggles. Like I gotta do it. Like for instance, my family when they came from Texas, right? Both sides came. My mom's side, my dad's side, and they met over there, but they both came this way. And my mom's side, they came with 5 families from Texas to here, somewhere in the Central Valley, and ended up landing in Porterville. You know, then my dad, I don't know how they came, but when they came, they would live in labor camps. You know, moving around. But my dad said he remembers playing in labor camps, in eating in big old tents. You know, like community kitchens and sleeping outdoors and running barefooted and all the women cooking one big old meal. Right, so he then they posted up in Woodville Labor Camp, then Poplar, and then eventually bought a house in Porterville. You know, and then like my other family, they found a house and bought a house for $17,000 back in the '60s, if I'm right. You know, and it has 2 properties. And you're like, yeah, 17. That's crazy, but so you imagine how hard they worked and they did it for me, my grandkids. Like, you know, when you think about it, because we got their worth ethic in us. Just a lot of us don't use it, you know? And we need to start using it more. We need to start taking things from our family and relatives, good things, you know? Like work ethic, have good values, you know? They taught us what some of us did. But you imagine, like, because I trip out too, because even when I started working, I had to walk just to get to work, you know, to make money to pay my bills or whatever bills I was accumulating, like. But I had to do what I had to do, you know, to get to where I'm at now. And my kids are at. It's just crazy to see the work you put in pays off, you know, and makes you want to be a better person. Like when I was framing houses, I used to, like, man, I'm gonna quit, you know, doing $7 an hour. And then they're like, and they used to pick me up at 3:30, 4 in the morning. We used to drive from Porterville to Kalinga, and I'd be like, man, if they could get up and get ready to go to work, why can't I? You know what I'm saying? And it's even crazy too, because I was getting up in the morning like 3:30. They would come between about 4, right? And I heard my name called. I was like, because I was smoking some weed at the time, so I'm smoking. Had the door open, making coffee. Had coffee in my lunch. And I heard my name. I go, what the hell? And I look outside, and this fool's like, hey, what's up? I was like, fool, going to work. He's like, want to buy a toolbox? I go, how much? I go, where's it at? He's like, it's in the alley. Like, fool, you tripping. So nah, I can't be. I gotta go to work. But you know, you think like, this fool's Mexican too. He's out stealing, and I'm Mexican too, and I'm out working for. I think about the time I was making like 12, 13 an hour. You know, it's just like, I don't know, man. But it was, and I had to sacrifice to learn them skills, you know. Even when I relocated, I downgraded, I took a job just to learn remodeling, took a pay cut. But it was like, whatever I got to do, what I got to do to learn some skills to get my family in a better situation, you know. And it's just like like my wife, she drives a better car than I do. But I ain't tripping because who I got to impress? I'm just out there putting in work. You know what I'm saying? But we got to think about the future for our kids and what we want to leave them, you know. A lot of us leave things behind. And when they do leave things behind, we always arguing about family and stuff, like, oh, I'm the oldest, I'm getting it, you ain't getting shit, like, bro, relax. Let's, but it's because a lot of us haven't had money. So we get this money like, mine, golem, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I don't know what it is in this. We just have like in nature that where we um, second guess Mexicans, their intentions, Like, who's this fool from? Why are you looking at me like that? Like, homie, just live your life, be yourself, be a better version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wish I would have got sober a long time ago. Like, who knows what my life would have been like, And it's just amazing how fortunate I am as I sit and realize that, man, I'm lucky to make it out of where I came from. And, it's just crazy to see where I may be going. If the man above allows me, to stay here for a while and be positive and spread messages that I feel I need to, I know I might suffer the consequences of things I say online, but hey, I got to do this for my family and my history. Just like Homeboy's history here, he still got a ranch in Carlsbad. Their family does, and it's like 3-4 generations over there. And it's kind of awesome. Like, think about that, how he made it to where it's a ranch. Everything they dreamed of and hoped, they made it happen because they worked hard. And that's what I hate to see, when people work hard and do their things in life to get where they want to be for their kids and their grandkids, and then you have someone in the family or sitting there stalking, waiting for them to fall off, and take their stuff and do what they want. Cut out people, and just when all the celebrations and everything, that all the love and memories were made at that place, and you want to take it away from others, but you got to create your own now. If you got that opportunity and knowing you can, if you can't make it where you're at now, maybe it's time to pack your stuff and find another place to move, man, because there's bigger and better, greener pastures out there, One thing I miss about Porterville is when it snowed, you see all the mountains on beautiful, and the rivers, and, it was home. But I know I had to change and move on for my future, for my kids' future. You know what I'm saying? Given I had the opportunity. So if you have an opportunity to make it better for your family, in your future, do it. Make that move. Like my daughter, she's going to be going to high school soon, and I tell her, when I was going to high school, a lot of these fools like, oh, you pocho. Now they call them no sabo kids. And I go, no sabo. No sabo inglés, español. But I tell my daughter, you know where you came from. I told you where you came from. We come from Texas. You know what I'm saying? And we're 4th generation here. So it's like, what are they talking about? You guys barely jumped the border just recently. That's why fools ain't gonna get ahead right now, because the border's open and they're letting people in. So they're coming out of poverty and building their way up. And it's gonna take a little generation or two. But so it's gonna continue, and we're like, oh, you're holding the brown man, the white man holding the brown man down. No, it's because the border's open, so new poor people are coming in to fill in these other jobs that people are moving up from the next generation. So it's like, come on, man, we gotta use our common sense and know that a lot of people who are low intelligence are getting taken advantage of, and be like, oh, the gringo. Like, no, bro, you just came in, you're 1st generation poor. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have what other Mexicans have, then look at us like we're the problem. No, bro, we've been here 4 generations, homie. You guys tripping. But I just wanted to talk about that book and how much it inspired me. I always thought about it. I still think about it. Like, I tell my wife, please read this. You read all these other books, read this one. But she don't. Then, and then another thing I want to end with, right? What I heard just recently. This guy said when he was in high school, he's a black dude. The teacher thought he was low intelligence, so made him read one book. I don't know if it was a semester. I think it was a semester, right? So he made him read one. Excuse me, read one book in a semester because he's like low intelligence or thought he couldn't comprehendo. It made this white kid read 8 books. So he said by the time that semester was over, this kid had 8 books he read while he only had one book of knowledge. So he was already 8 steps ahead of the dude who had one book. You know, so that's why it's good to read a book, because then you kind of understand where people are coming from, you know. But I just want to touch on that, like, you know, be proud of your history. Even a lot of people don't know their history, you know. But now you guys need to learn it and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because now we got all the technology to find out where our family is, you know. But just to know where we come from, you know. But I just believe it's the Mexican culture. Chicanos are insane. Nah, we just have some little grudge. We think it's a white man, but it's a grudge against ourselves. You know, and that's what I think holds us down a lot. But anyways, I'm Gnarly Vato, and this is my message. Have a great day. Stay out of trouble.